You know what time it is.
Does it say go live?
No.
It doesn't.
Oh, it says live. Do I touch live?
You got if we're live, then you get to say you know what time it is.
Now you
No,
say
no,
it.
don't touch
Just say
anything.
it.
Just say you know what time. Is it running, Mark? Okay, say it, Sharon.
You know what time it is.
Boom shakalaka! All right, here we
Okay.
are.
We are doing our growing pain thing. It's Friday.
That's right. One of the best days of the week.
Yes, indeed, indeed. We have a new person on our camera, so sometimes, even though we know what time it is, the new person on the camera does not quite know what time it is, Chaveevah. And
But she's doing great all the same.
exactly. Thank
Okay,
you,
thank you,
Sharon, for
Sharon.
sitting in. We
Yes.
certainly do appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
And boom shakalaka it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened. The week just flew by.
The week flew by, that's for sure. We are busy all the time. We had so much fun last weekend.
Oh my
Chaveevah.
goodness! When we went to the "I'll Make Me a World" festival in Des Moines,
Oh,
yeah, "I'll Make Me a World" in Iowa. That was just so much fun.
Chaveevah, the bus ride alone was plenty fun.
I know, I know. Everybody was singing.
Oh
and
my goodness,
cracking so many jokes. It was fun. You never know. A lot of women that you think are just nice and laid back, and they never, butter wouldn't melt on their tongue. These women had me cracking up the
They
whole ride.
kept us going, and then we got to sing and actually kind of reconnect sisterhood. It was a
Yes.
great time last
Yes.
weekend. Yeah, and while we're waiting for people to sign in, Sharon, do we have anybody that's saying anything at this time? Okay, that scares me, but usually there's somebody there. We had problems last week, so I'm a little bit gun shy right now.
Well,
But
that's all right. We're gonna soldier on.
yes, we're going to soldier
Yeah.
on. So listen, if you're not our friend, you should be. We want to make sure that you like our Rocki and Chaveevah page so you can stay updated on all the good stuff that's happening on the North End.
Yes, you want to like the North End update page, and you also want to like the Rocki and Chaveevah page, because you might be my friend and you might be Rocky's friend, but we want you to be Rocki and Chaveevah's friend.
That's
because in that way you'll
right.
get notifications whenever we're doing something.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So make sure you do that and tell your friends all about us. Watch us live every Friday if we're live. Are we live, Sharon? Does it say we're live?
It says live.
Okay.
All right.
It says live.
Where
Awesome.
are our people? Nobody's saying anything?
Comments will appear here.
Okay, so that's what's
Okay.
scary. I think there's something going on with the connection, but it's okay. It's all good. Want to talk about our wonderful guests that we have today?
Yes,
Chaveevah?
indeed. We have Mr. DeCarlos Anderson, who from Hawkeye Community College, and he works with student success.
Yes.
He's also a sports referee. As a matter of fact, I've seen him refereeing my grandson's basketball games.
Oh,
And,
how
just
nice.
really involved. He's an advocate for our youth.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is. And in our pre-interview, I got to understand a little bit more about what he does for Hawkeye Community College,
Mm-hmm.
being an advocate for those students, all
The students, period. All
Right,
right, that
right.
sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yes, and then we have I guess
You said
the one and only
That's right.
Reverend Abraham Funchess is going to be here with us today, and he's just a jack of all trades, knows a little
Indeed.
bit about some of everything. How should be?
But in his professional capacity, he is the executive director of the Human Rights Commission here in Waterloo. And so we're going to get a chance to talk to him about what he does in that position, and just whatever things that he likes to talk about is fine.
Right, I'm sure he got some stories to tell.
Yes, indeed.
I mean,
Yeah.
Like, what is your strangest day? You know, we'll have to ask him some of the
Yeah.
inside scoop on how that job actually
stuff.
works. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Chaveevah, we got to do our shout outs.
As always.
Yes, we want to give a special thanks to WCTV and the MediaCom channel for having us here today.
Yes.
Thank you so much, the City of Waterloo.
Absolutely. And, well, it's always, I always enjoy shouting out my brother, Philip Banks in San Diego, California. Hi, hope you're watching.
Right, Sharon Griffin Allen, all of our viewers. Joyce Ann Wilder, where are you? How come you're not commenting? I'm wondering, are they seeing us? Nobody's commenting. I hate to keep being preoccupied, but it just drives me nuts because this is how it was last week. It's okay.
Okay, anyway, all right.
Okay. Want to also shout out to our dear friend Brian Sink.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And as we said last week, Brian, we'll be home next week.
Yes.
When we get ready to do our awesome, I call it the Love Edition.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Hey,
Love Edition.
that's
Valentine's Day. We're going to be
Yes.
back at Brian's.
Mm-hmm. Brian's with cooking segment.
Oh yeah, he's gonna cook something like a dinner for two for our cooking show, another cooking segment. So
Yes.
yeah, and Brian, we want to tell everybody to go to Brian's and eat steak. Brian has the best steak, and one of the camera guys didn't know anything about Brian's. I'm like, what? They have that buffet
Right.
3 times
That's
a week.
right. They have an Italian buffet, a German buffet, and a Mexican.
Yes, they
Buffet.
do. And so go there.
Yes.
Eat steak.
If you don't eat
And
steak,
lobster.
eat crab cakes. That's
Oh,
good
yeah,
too.
that's your favorite.
It's my favorite.
All right. Okay, so we want to talk about what we always talk about at this time, Chaveevah.
What,
And it-
our sponsorship?
No? It's
Yes.
February.
Oh, okay.
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 Whoa. All right.
All
We got to
right.
stay on our toes,
That's
Chaveevah.
right. Okay.
Okay, we're going to talk about the
The Soul Town.
Soul Town.
The Soul Town.
Town.
Okay.
Hello.
All right. We mention every week how wonderful this publication is, and so you get that. And every now and then we talk about specific things, and I couldn't help but notice that one of our guests today is a new columnist with the
Oh, my.
Soul Town, and has
Who's
written
that?
a story about Brother DeCarlos Anderson has written a story
Well,
about
Alfie. About.
Carondis
Oh.
Harrison Anderson, this young man that's just trying to get all the baskets.
Okay, awesome. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations and welcome to the Soul Town artist, contributing artist
Yes.
group, and we're part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it is a great magazine to read. It's a great magazine to write for. It does a great service to this community, in my opinion. And if you're interested in getting one, there are places where you can pick one up. They're $6, and you can buy them from Tri-City Clothing, 305 East 4th Street, right here in Waterloo. Or you can go online, www.thesoultown.com.
That's right. And you can look for our articles. Chaveevah and I both write in the Soul Town. I
That's
write
right.
for the Sandwich Generation, and Chaveevah writes for
I write What's Really Good.
What's
That's
Really
the name of my beat. What's Really Good, because I
Yeah.
want you all to know what's going on out here, the great things and people that we have right here in our community.
That's right. And you know, Cherie Kaba is the
Yes.
engineer of all this, and she is the one that inspired me to start this show. Just let it be known that if it weren't for that Soul Town, I would have never come up with this fabulous idea. And you know, we started on the bottom, Chaveevah, and now we here.
Yes.
All
Yes.
up in the studio and stuff and
Oh,
drinking.
yeah.
Oh, that's not my wine.
No,
This-
that's not yours.
This is my drinking water and being refreshed.
All
and-
right, there you go. I will drink to that as well.
All right, here's to 2018 coming in and doing well. So we want to go ahead and introduce our guests now. Without further ado, we have to find out about these young men.
Yes.
They're both younger than us, Chaveevah. 'Cause we
Well,
old as black pepper.
I was
you
going to
know.
say, you told me I'm old as black pepper, so.
Okay, Mr. DeCarlos, what's his last name?
Anderson.
Anderson.
And
Okay, we are old. I'm
Mr.
forgetful,
Abraham,
too.
Reverend Abraham Funchess.
Reverend Abraham Funchess. I know him from a long time ago.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Yeah. Welcome, 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 guys.
Yes, welcome.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much
thank
for
you, yeah.
joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Congratulations, by the way, ladies, on
Oh.
your wild success.
Oh, wild
Yeah.
success, right?
Started from the bottom, are you here?
Yeah,
that's
right. You must be talking about the ever popular North End update.
Absolutely. All I know is that you all are being talked about everywhere.
Oh,
I think it was
really?
rumored that the Congressional Black Caucus was talking about the North update.
Hush your mouth.
Yeah, that's right.
wow.
So,
Really?
I
Wow.
appreciate this white infidel you got for us.
Oh, yes, right. It's actually water. Of all people, the preacher mentioned that we didn't have wine today. We weren't
She
expecting
had to
that.
put you on the spot, huh?
Yes. Now, if you don't mind, I think we'll start with the young. We're going to go chronologically, age order. You kind of old too, I know. This young man, DeCarlos, welcome to North End Update.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just hit decline.
Mhm.
That happens every show. But that's why everybody likes us. We're
Right.
just raw like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So, DeCarlos, tell us, you've been gone for a while, and then you decided to come back here recently?
Yep. So actually spent 20 years in Oakland, California, a little over 20 years, and so just my process has been vast. Grew up here, native of Waterloo, Iowa. Love it. Come from all the extreme demographics, and so teenage mom, single parent household, and just overcome a lot of different obstacles. And so with that opportunity to further myself and better myself, and so I ended up in California, met my biological father. He was there. That was in 1995.
Was it a
and so,
good reunion?
it was a good reunion. I
Good.
definitely appreciate him for the time that he did step into my life, and it did help me mature and grow as a young man, because without that experience, I don't know if I would have been in the position I'm in now.
As successful as, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
good.
and my thing was I did play sports, so one of the few people from this community who actually had an opportunity to leave and play some intercollegiate football at the Division I level.
Is that your number one sport, football?
Football, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played at Iowa State. I played community college ball in California as well, and then I moved back there after I got done at Iowa State and did a lot in the community there as a school teacher for several years. I coached football there for several years, so I had the opportunity to coach some young men that play professional sports.
Okay, wow.
Just doing really well. I got a young guy. He's like my nephew. His name is Marcus Peter. He plays for the Chiefs, and so
Wow.
he got Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago, and so I always hang my hat on that because I've known him since he was a very young man. And at this point in time, everybody asks, well, why'd you come back to Iowa?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
So
That was
that,
my question. yeah.
so the number, that's the number one question. I always tell people that there's no place like home. And I think that's the biggest thing that one of the things that you have to kind of look at, because I truly indeed am a native and proud Waterlooan. And so
All right, we
I tell
like
people
that.
all the time.
We
Is,
love
if you go
that.
to Oakland, California, and you tell them Los, and they're gonna say, "You're Los from the Lou."
Okay,
so
Los
that's why-
from the Lou.
That's
Okay,
that's
I
one of the
like
things
that.
that I've so that's one of my claims of fame, is that I went there and was proud of where I come from, and with that, it's one of the things to where everybody says, well, the number, is there black people in Iowa?
Oh,
and
that's
so that was like the
right.
question
That's
I got all the
right.
time.
There
and-
there was
I'll
a-
make me
yeah,
a
so
word.
like for
That's
me,
a
I
question.
say I'm as black as they come, so I
Right.
don't really know what it
Okay.
means to be any blacker. And so I think that just being in a community like Oakland was definitely a great experience for me, because it's such a pride-rich role. Met a lot of Black Panthers, just people who were a part of that movement.
Sure.
Again, like I said, I've done a lot of community activism and things of that nature in that community. And so, with that being said, I'm a single dad. I have a 12-year-old daughter who, at the time, I've been raising for several years. And
Oh, wonderful.
just my mom is here, my family is here, and
Yes.
I need some help. Cause I
Great.
ain't really,
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That'll bring you home too.
Yeah.
And now tell us briefly about how, briefly, because I can see you can go.
Well, you asked me to tell you about
But you know, my claim to fame is telling you your time is up. You just won't make me do that now. Okay. No, we want to quickly know about what you do at Hawkeye. I know you teach people. You do everything: academic advising, financial aid, making sure
So
people
I
take their class.
currently work as a student success specialist at Hawkeye Community College.
Student success
Specialist.
Okay.
And so basically what the success specialists are, our goal is we're like a one-stop shop. So if students come in with any type of issue, whether it be not knowing how to register for classes, or I didn't receive my financial aid, what's going on, anything of that nature.
One-stop shop.
Yeah. We
Okay.
navigate them through that. I've had students come and say, hey, I don't know if I'll be able to make it, can I do? And so retention is my job. And so with that being said, you know, it's one of those things to where like, hey, what can I do to make you be successful? Once you, whatever program you start, I want to make sure that you finish. And so that's my goal as my job.
Has this trend grown stronger over the years as opposed to before, as far as really focusing on retention?
It is a new push within higher education, just because that you know, higher ed is one of those things, especially when you talk about 2-year institutions. You know, students start and then they don't technically finish. So you know,
I don't know what that
Okay,
is.
Yeah.
somebody's fancy song.
yeah.
Okay. So where can people get a hold to you if they need to contact Hawkeye Community College? Or I understand you have a basketball league that you're getting started.
That's correct. So I'm on the website. If you go to Hawkeye's website, Success Specialist actually is on link. And if you type in my name in the search, I'm pretty sure my name will come up. And
Okay.
So that's a good thing. And I did start a basketball league.
How can they get in touch with you if they have a kid that wants to play basketball?
So the best thing to do is email me. We have a website or email called the Lou League at yahoo.com. So if you email the Lou League, also we have a Facebook page, which is Waterloo Youth Summer Basketball League on Facebook. And if you enter in those links, or you can go on Facebook and also put in the Lou League, and that information will come up. It is for ages, for grades 5th through 10th grade.
Oh, okay.
And
Quite a broad.
yep,
Yeah.
and we also really focus on getting our young ladies involved.
Oh,
You said that's
great.
Waterloo
Youth.
Youth Summer Basketball.
Yep,
Okay.
All right.
On Facebook, and you said Lou League.
the Lou League. If you just put in the Lou League, it'll come up. So that's a long title, and again, it's in creation of the Gates Park League, which I was a part of.
Oh,
growing up.
yeah, back in the day.
Yep, and so
Great. We could talk about that all day,
right.
but your time is up. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
So, a lot of information
Yeah.
from this young fellow, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and we really do appreciate you coming back to
Yeah.
the community
Thank you.
because
Appreciate you guys.
so many leave and never come back, Travis.
Oh,
JJ Moses.
Yeah, JJ, all y'all, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but, okay, moving on, we have you here, and we, Chaveevah and
Glad
I
to
are
be here. Glad
very
to be here.
familiar with you and the work that you've done in the community.
for years. Yes,
Thank you, thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just appreciate the kind introduction. But it was just nice because I've known you all for a long time. so,
Yes, way,
yeah,
way
it's just
back.
good. Yeah, absolutely. It feels good. It feels good to be here today.
Yes. Chaveevah.
Yes. Okay.
Hello.
No, I said we wanted to ask you, Reverend Funchess, to talk a little bit about what it is you do as the director and what the Human Rights Commission here in Waterloo does.
Sure. I'd be glad to talk about that. As Executive Director of Waterloo Commission on Human Rights, we try to make sure that we do the best we can to protect the personal dignity of all Waterloo citizens and to remove barriers that prevent people from living up to their fullest production capabilities. And so we field employment complaints as well as housing complaints. And, of course, we also engage in educational outreach programming. And one of the biggest programs that we have going on right now is the King Initiative.
Right. We were
Yeah.
going to talk about that. a
Yeah,
little
we feel
bit.
good about that.
Yes.
We
Tell
feel
us
good.
about that because that's actually coming up this week, February 8th.
Right. Yeah, we have something very specific coming up on February 8th, but the King Initiative is all year long. It's going by the theme 50 Years Since King, Chaos Our Community. Chaos Our Community actually comes from one of Dr. King's books that he wrote in 1967, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos Our Community. But obviously we are moving forward with the understanding that most people will choose community if they have the option of
Sure.
chaos
Yes.
versus community.
Oh, of
and
course.
and then, as you mentioned, February 8th, we are showing one of our first films. Sharon Silva, by the way, is a part of that planning committee.
Oh,
and,
all
but February 8th is one of the first nights that we will show the first part of a 3-hour film called King, from Memphis to Montgomery, or from Montgomery to Memphis. But it allows everyone who comes And we will serve a free meal, by the way. We want you to come
Oh, how nice.
and fill your stomachs with some good food, because food is healing too, as we
Oh,
all know.
yeah.
Yes.
I
Oh,
heard you
yeah.
all talking about that. I hope I can get over to Brian's at some point
Oh,
and get
yes.
some of that good steak or whatever the case is. But
Yes,
but we want to serve a free meal, and we want to watch an hour of the film, and we want to have some discussion about it, because we believe that this is a way to introduce people, hopefully, to the real King, because King has been homogenized, he's been sanitized.
Yes.
One of the beautiful things at the MLK banquet was that we had a sister come back from out of town, pretty much like this brother, coming
Right,
back
come
from out
back
of
to
town.
the-
One of my
Yeah, but she was a MacArthur Genius Award winner.
yes.
And she began to talk about the real King, who talked about the other America. And the other America, of course, addressed, redressed some of the concerns of the least of these in community, those who are marginalized.
Right.
Of course, that's the part of King that we don't always talk about, for some obvious reasons, and for other reasons that may not be so obvious. But hopefully throughout the whole year 2018, which
Yes.
is 50 years since he was assassinated, we want to introduce, talk about, engage people around the promise that King left for all of America and the world when he was assassinated.
On a daily basis, and
That's
not
right.
just in February for Black
Yes.
History Month.
That's right, the whole year long.
The whole year long.
Mhm.
And is this initiative? Are you doing things throughout the year? Different events that will capitalize on remembering King and
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so glad you asked. We do want to show movies throughout the year. We're starting off with the King movie, which is going to be aired at the Jubilee UMC Resource Center February 8, February 15, and February 22nd. But we want to show other films as well. Two other films that we have on the docket are I'm Not Your Negro by James Baldwin.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
that
and perhaps
has
you saw
gotten-
that.
Yeah, well,
that
I've
it's
heard
good.
of it. I
Yeah,
haven't seen
with
it.
James Baldwin, but everybody knows the
course.
writer,
Oh, yes.
James Baldwin. And then, of course, we also want to show a movie like 13th, which plays off of the 13th Amendment, but that was a wonderful movie that talked about the monstrosity of so many people being incarcerated. It's high time that we do something to try to revise our criminal justice system. So,
Yes.
Absolutely, we have to raise more awareness about these things, because
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy and very convenient to just gloss over, just in the same way
Absolutely.
that you mentioned regarding Dr. King, that it's nice to remember the We Shall Overcome nonviolent Dr. King
Mm-hmm.
without addressing those other things that he was protesting in the first place.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, he was very radical in his love. I mean,
Yes.
I do agree, and I'm so glad you said what you just said in term and the way you said it, because we do like to remember Dr. King for the We Shall Overcome, everybody come together, Dr. King.
Yeah.
But the reality is, and this is what the MacArthur Genius Award winner said at the MLK banquet, the reality is that a lot of people did not like Dr. King at the time of his assassination. It was because he became political by virtue of speaking out on behalf of those who were marginalized in communities all over the place. And whenever you began to talk about how we need to redistribute resources so that everybody has an opportunity to partake in this wonderful game we call life, then that becomes political by nature. And everybody, all of a sudden now, because we're either greedy or we want to keep our hands on more than enough resources for themselves, that's when people either embrace you or reject you. And the reality is that at the time of his assassination, a lot of people rejected Dr. King. They didn't like Dr. King. They were nervous when Dr. King came around because he engaged in a radical love. And we hope to introduce more and more people to the real King throughout the whole year this year.
And that was Nicole Hanna, the MacArthur Genius.
That's
Yes.
right.
Another one of my classmates.
Another one of your classmates.
That was a very good year.
Yeah,
huh?
she was.
This
And
brother
so-
knows a lot of good people.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Marshawn Lynch. We were talking about all that in his pre-interview.
Yeah.
I'm like, my goodness.
Mhm.
You just
What's the deal
You're
with
a-
Marshawn Lynch?
Well, Marshawn actually grew up in Oakland. native Oakland, big time Oaklander. Went to our rival school.
Oh.
So Marshawn's high school football coach and I are actually really good friends.
Oh, wow.
Don't know her, so I've been knowing Marshawn a long time, knowing him personally. So he's always around. It's funny because he doesn't talk on camera much,
Right.
but sometimes we can't get him to shut up. You know?
Okay.
So you know,
That's a
but,
bad
he's
brother.
dope. Yeah, but,
Yes,
he is.
he is.
He is really good ball player. Yeah.
I watch my boys, you know,
Yeah.
watching him,
Yeah.
and they just love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beast mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did we touch on a means of a person connecting to find out more information about anything that the Human Rights Commission has to offer? Website, phone number, anything
That's right.
like that?
Yeah, the city has a website now, and obviously our mayor is doing a wonderful job in terms of trying to
Yes.
bridge City Hall with the rest of the community. But if you Google Waterloo Commission on Human Rights, it brings you up to the website. And of course, you can always call the Waterloo Commission on Human Rights at 319-291-4441. And we welcome the opportunity to engage you around many of our initiatives, especially the MLK initiative, MLK 50, and that is 50 years since King Chaos our community. And we would love to apprise you of the movies, the marches. We hope in March to recreate the march in Selma when they walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We want to try to do that here.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, Angela Davis, she said something that resonates, I think, with a lot of people, but she once said something about the epistemological function of praxis. And in other words, she was saying we learn by doing.
Yes.
So we believe if we get out there and walk across a bridge here in the city and rub shoulders one with another, we can begin to talk about what does it mean, really, when they marched across that bridge under the direction, leadership of Dr. King, and then ran into some forces that they certainly knew would be there.
Yeah.
But they did it all because they believed that the vote was important.
Sure.
The importance of exercising the franchise to vote and to let your voice be heard. And of course, we hope that we can impress not only adults, but teens as well, and young people today about all of the sacrifices that people paid on our behalf. We are standing
goodness, I
on
think-
the shoulders of great individuals today.
That's quite a burden. I mean, to
Yeah.
get our young people, because I don't think they really have a clue. It seems, you know,
Yeah.
we really do need to focus on that.
We've got
And
a
so
lot of work to do.
the both of you certainly do your share,
Yeah.
you know, in working with the youth, and
Yes.
that's what it takes.
Yes, and we absolutely thank you and commend you for your contributions, most definitely.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for yours too.
Yeah, appreciate it. The show's great.
Oh,
Glad we
thank
got it
you.
going
But
on.
I'm afraid we're not live. And you know, one other thing that's great about our show is how we can just get up and get off set and go check the phone to make sure we're on live, you know, because
yeah,
that's how we roll.
Yeah.
That's, you know, I've done even more fun things in the backyard. So this, as long as these people know that that's normal for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
And MediaCom people can know.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that either one of you would like to shout out?
Shout out,
Say
yes.
hey.
Yeah, want to say
What's
hi,
going
Mom, or
Oh,
anything?
yeah.
Wait. So first, I want you to tell us again about the King thing. It's Thursday, February 8th.
Yes,
Eight.
Thursday,
This is
February
Thursday.
8th, that's right. It's a Thursday, starting at 5:30. We invite the community to come out to Jubilee UMC Resource Center. We look forward to feeding you so that you would first have your stomachs tickled a little bit by
Okay.
some good food. But then at some point, we'll engage in watching the film, and then we may even have a panel discussion afterwards. But come and see the movie on King, and we
King,
appreciate that.
February 8th at 5:30 at Jubilee UMC Resource Center.
Yes.
Okay, now you guys can shout out, and I'm going to check the phone. Say hi to say hi to all the people you know. I'll be right
Absolutely.
back.
I just want to send a shout out to my wife and son who are in the city, Veronica McGee Funchess and Solomon Diara Aquilo Funchess. A shout out to you all and to Jubilee UMC.
I'll send a shout out to my daughter, my 12-year-old, Anami Anderson. I actually have a freshman in college. Her name is Taryn. She's in California still. My mom, Minister Valerie Norman, and then all my other family, my friends, my LOC buddies.
Okay.
That's just my posse, my crew. So,
Yeah. There you go.
yeah.
There you
All
go.
right. All right. And so, at this time, I think we'll just filling in the blanks here because we never did get an opportunity to make other announcements. Tomorrow, on Saturday, at 2 p.m., the Waterloo Public Library is going to host a Black History Month event where the author, Lamont Patel Muhammad, will be there with his children's books, I Am and I Can. And they'll also be doing Black History Month crafts. So that's
That's
something,
nice.
yeah.
That's nice.
All right.
Oh, and another, on Thursday, the 8th, Toastmasters from noon to 1 will be at the Grout, 503 South Street, and they're gonna have an open house where you get a chance to, engage in public speaking and gain your confidence. If that's not really your strong suit, sometimes people get a little bit, freeze up a little bit when it comes to public speaking. But this sounds like a really nice, fun sort of way to immerse yourself in that, get a chance to brush
Indeed.
up on your public speaking.
Indeed.
That is good. And if you guys know any young people, we're going to say what, 18 to 12 is the gap we're trying to fill. We're trying to launch our North End Update Youth Edition,
Oh, yeah.
which will be February 10th.
That's right.
So-
It's fabulous.
Yes, we have some
Fabulous.
young, Juliet Dunn is taking that initiative, and we have some young people that are going to start, but how old is Brooke and
They're like 12,
12.
13 years old. What is it? One of them is, I can't think, Quentin.
QJ,
QJ.
Quentin
Yeah.
Hart's
Okay.
son,
Oh,
and then we
okay.
have Brooke Dunn, but we do want to get somebody for the 18 to 12-year-old gap so that they can kind of
Sure.
have feature those young people
Okay.
that are doing great things in the community. So
Yeah.
inbox us, let us know if you know anybody.
Gotcha, yeah, gotcha.
I was thinking Solomon, but he grew up on us. I know, just all in college and
Right,
everything.
all of a
So,
sudden.
yes. Well, we want to thank you too for joining us for
Yes.
the North
Thank
End.
you so much for having
Yeah,
us. Appreciate
really
it.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you
Yep.
bet. The
Yeah.
North End Update segment of the Rocki and Chaveevah show. And now we are going to actually do a little bit something different. For those of you who are joining us live, hopefully we can get our live stream working one day soon, and you can actually do questions now. Are there people that are saying things?
A lot, yes,
Finally,
yes.
please.
Someone. Lynette Jessen Lorenz, de Carlos Anderson, you rock.
Okay,
All right.
woo!
Thank you.
Yo.
Lynette.
Hey, but what about me? It's like, seriously? He's all right, but.
Rocky, you have a whole bunch of people who are watching.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you, because I'm so
That's
sorry.
wonderful.
We can apologize to our people. I'm afraid the live stream wasn't working, and we're still trying to figure all that
And as
out.
we said, we're gonna try to work those kinks out, but in the meantime, in between time, you will be able to watch us on our local cable channel 17, Fridays at 4 o'clock and Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
And if-
You can also see us at any time on YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And if 17 doesn't work, try 79.4, okay?
That's right.
Just keep trying.
Keep turning.
Find
your business.
us,
Yeah.
we're here. Okay, so what we're doing different today is normally our show is only 26 to 30 minutes long, but we're going, since we got such expertise in young people and domestic violence, which is the elephant in the room in our community right now. The black
Yes.
community is heartbroken because of the loss of a young woman, I think you
Yeah,
said. a
Lakeisha
classmate.
Lakeisha Owens. Yep.
Lakeisha
Yep.
Owens, yes.
So
And so it's something that really, really needs to be talked about. What can we do as a community to maybe to intercede or help? Is there anything that you can think of that would help us as a whole?
Well, from the vantage point that I bring to the table through the Commission on Human Rights, also through the ministry efforts we engage in on a regular basis in the community, we just believe that all of our brothers and sisters, including leadership, clergy, we can inform ourselves a little bit more about the trappings of domestic violence, sexual assault, because without a critical understanding of the problem, we oftentimes are a part of the problem. Because when people are complaining about issues that are affecting them, when they're going through such emotional, psychological, and spiritual oppression involved in a domestic violence situation, they are telling their stories and people are not listening to them, or people are not believing them when they
Right.
say they're going through something tragic. Or
We feel like they're asking for it, or you need that because that's the situation you're in, so deal with it. Is that kind of the way?
that's exactly what happens.
Yes.
I mean, there are some critical books out there. One in particular written by Minister Al Miles, Reverend Al Miles, but he talks about how women, and in this particular issue, he interviewed a lot of clergy persons, and the women would be telling clergy about their issues, and clergy would not believe them. Clergy would not acknowledge that they had women in their congregations that were going through domestic violence or sexual assault issues. Clergy were encouraging women to just pray about it, as if prayer alone would eradicate the problem. And of course, we know that those things alone are not sufficient to deal with the problems that we're talking about. It's amazing because we have encouraged and we've excused the violent and abusive behavior perpetrated against women by men for a long, long time, since the beginning of time.
Yes, that's right.
Isn't
Exactly.
there always
It's almost-
also an element of, okay, having a family member or friend or someone that's going through this and having a feeling like, I don't want to butt in somebody else's business. You know,
Absolutely.
you're sort of aware of it, but what do you do as that person who may be aware and not wanting to, quote unquote, overstep your bounds, but also not wanting to, you know, have a tragedy result.
Absolutely.
You know.
And it used to be, excuse me, but it used to be almost common that that's your wife. You know, a man owned a wife. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And,
Yes.
and
Right.
other men would be like, "Oh, that's your wife, man. Go, you know,
Right,
whatever.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Right,
It
or
was almost
officers
permissible.
even would not respond.
Right.
you know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
things have
Yeah.
changed since then.
Yeah.
And I have I'm a father of two young ladies, so that's a whole different dynamic for me because being able to communicate with them as far as how the male and female interaction should be.
How
and-
much to take.
And how much to take, and I always say this all the time. I say if a guy's a bum, he's showing you signs, you just choose to ignore him. And so the thing is that it's very important for them, and then since they are younger, there's a lot of things that happen, within that that are perpetuated, through music that's giving
Yes.
them the impression that it's okay for
Yeah.
a man to treat them a certain way,
Yeah.
or call them certain names, or do certain things. And so
Right.
I think that's also a conversation that's very important too, because sometimes
It's becoming a norm.
it's socially accepted, and I think that
Absolutely.
either you stand for something,
Yeah.
or you fall for
You
anything.
fall for everything.
You know what I
You know,
mean?
but one
So-
of the ethos that has permeated our community for so long is that we want to love God with everything in us, and we want to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And I just think that we've kind of gotten away from that ethic, though, the idea of loving neighbor as we love ourselves, because if we actually believe that the first duty of love is to listen to one another, then obviously there's an opportunity for us to do a better job of listening to each other. The idea of respecting boundaries, but at the same time always working to create a culture where people, believe that there is a safe space somewhere. There's some place I can go, and we are truly poor and bankrupt if there's no safe space in community somewhere where you can go and talk about these kinds of things that might be hurting somebody in the family or in the community. And I refuse to believe that we are that spiritually bankrupt or that poor.
Yes.
We need to do a better job as clergy members, as other leaders in community of different organizations, as mothers, as fathers, as guardians, to make sure that we cultivate the practice of creating safe spaces in our community. Because I just
Yes.
believe that if we can talk about our issues a little bit more, and truly convince people that they have a recourse. And then, of course, there's the Mounting Community Services. There are other
Okay, I was
outfits
gonna
out
say,
there.
where
Yeah.
is the place? If you know
Yeah.
of it and people are watching right now, where is the place
Yeah,
that
I'm
they
sorry.
can go to call? Where can a person call?
Yeah. I don't know the number by heart, but it's Lisa Ambrose,
Okay, right.
Community Service. She has a cultural
Imani.
specific a cultural specific component to her domestic violence outfit. And then, of course, there are others as well, like Waypoint Community Services, Cedar Valley Friends of the Family. But Lisa and I have a relationship that goes back a couple of years, and I love working with her. And she certainly
been on our
brings.
show.
Yes.
She's
Oh,
great.
that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, she brings an empathy to the situation that is probably unmatched by many,
Right.
by virtue of who she is.
Yes. I think just talking, it's just like race relations and other things, I think just actually giving voice to some of our concerns, hopefully can be helpful. Is there anyone that would like to chime in on the conversation? Sharon,
There was an early message that said, finally.
finally,
Okay.
finally.
Yeah,
yes.
because as you know, like I said, we have been focusing on what's bright and what's beautiful and what's good in our community. But those things that we do need to talk about and give more of a voice to, that is what we're dedicating this extra time to. So that first half hour that you usually see us do, we're doing North End update for the
Fun,
good, the nice,
bubbly
the
stuff.
wonderful, that kind
Right.
of things. But this extra time that we're now devoting is to, again, shine more light on those other things that we really do need to give more serious discussion of. So if you find yourself where there are questions that you would like to pose, by all means, hit us on the website.
Right, inbox us,
Yes.
let us know. And also, we will, with the MediaCom setup that we have now, we will be taking phone calls for the live MediaCom.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
please, just keep watching us and make sure that you get your concerns known. Sharon, you said, is there?
Yes, we had a message, love the subject. This
Okay.
is something we need to talk about.
Yes, it is.
And thank you.
Oh, good, good. Thank you all for watching. And again, we apologize for the lack of the live stream in our first half hour. It was a great show. You should have been here.
You missed it.
You will be able to catch us later
Yes, go on
on
MediaCom.
YouTube or on MediaCom.
On YouTube or MediaCom. And I think basically, I'm sorry to say that this wraps up our time today. But again, we'd like to thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you so
both of
much.
you.
I
Yes.
appreciate being on the show. Thank you.
Yep, it was definitely an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, great.
Absolutely. Ditto.
And on that note, we're going to tell everybody out there to keep doing what makes you awesome.
Because it makes us all look good.
Right.
Yes.
See you next time.
Next time.
You can push finish.